Hey everyone, my name is Josh and welcome back to your fourth stimulus package and news update. We have a lot of news to get into in today's video, but first, if you would like to receive one free stock from Robinhood or two free stocks from Webull, make sure to go ahead and claim them by clicking my links, which you will find in the description box below. Okay, so just to start out this video, being that we are officially in the midst of tax season, some Americans may be eligible for up to $5,000. This group would be for those who had newborns last year, where parents would be eligible to receive the $1,400 relief payment for them, in addition to the $3,600 child tax credit. In total, that's $5,000 in credits you would be eligible to receive. If you didn't have a newborn, but you have other children, in that case, you should have already received the relief payments last year, but if you didn't, you can claim those on your tax returns in addition to the other half of the child tax credit. These are all credits you can add on your own if you file by yourself, or if you feel more comfortable by reaching out to an accountant to help you out. Okay, so in some Build Back Better news, progressive Democrats continued their push for talks to start back up. While we still aren't entirely sure what will make its way back into the package, Joe Manchin said he would be on board with the climate change provisions in addition to funding for universal pre-K. With the chair of the Progressive Caucus, Pramila Jayapal, being a key negotiator for the package, she's really been wanting to push this bill through. And just recently, she criticized Joe Manchin for betraying his commitment to not only the president, but also to the American people. Here's Pramila Jayapal with her thoughts on how Manchin will move forward.
Let me just ask you finally, Congresswoman, because as the chair of the Progressive Caucus, you've been a key negotiator during this whole process. And after Senator Manchin pulled his support from Build Back Better last month, you released a statement and said he, quote, betrayed his commitment not only to the president and Democrats in Congress, but most importantly to the American people. He routinely touts that he is a man of his word, but he can no longer say that. How do you go back to the table after that kind of betrayal? I mean, do you even have any faith that Senator Joe Manchin negotiates in good faith from here on out?
Well, Eamon, we don't have the luxury to give up. You know, we just don't have the luxury to give up. We have to get these things done for the American people. This is what we all ran on as Democrats. It's what the president ran on. It's what black voters and young voters and poor voters in Georgia and Arizona and across the country came out and voted for. This is the Democratic agenda. And so it really is not an option for us to say, you know what, I'm frustrated by the whole thing. I'm just going to give up. So that's number one. Number two, I did have a conversation with Senator Manchin, and even in that conversation the day after when he called me, there were so many things that he was still saying he supported, including universal pre-K, universal child care, housing, elder care, climate change, these the healthcare subsidies. These were all the things that he said he supported. So I just have to believe that we can get this done because it is good for the American people and it is good for the country to be able to deliver on this. And it's good for Joe Manchin and for his state to be able to deliver on this as well.
So Jayapal says this bill is what all the voters came out to vote for. Jayapal says we simply don't have the luxury to give up. She also believes that things such as climate change, universal pre-K, childcare, and affordable housing can make its way into the bill. And while Pramila Jayapal hopes to work out a deal in negotiations, Senator Bernie Sanders wants to take another approach. In his eyes, they should hold a vote right now and hold any senator accountable for voting against the bill. He says if Republicans want to vote over and over against lowering the cost of prescription drugs, expanding Medicare, guaranteeing paid leave, building more housing, and meeting the needs of struggling working families, we should let them. Here's Bernie Sanders explaining his view of things.
We now need a new direction, in my view, and that is to take it to the Republicans to bring important pieces of legislation that impact the lives of working families on the floor of the Senate. And if the Republicans want to vote to protect the wealthy and the powerful, that's their right. Let the American people see what's happening. We need a new direction, a new approach in the Senate. I think after 6 months of negotiating, so-called negotiating behind closed doors with Senators Manchin and Senator Sinema, we need to start voting. We need to bring important pieces of legislation that impact the lives of working families right onto the floor of the Senate. And if the Republicans want to vote against lowering the cost of prescription drugs, climate change, home health care, whatever it may be, And if the two Democrats want to join them, let the American people see what's happening. Then we can pick up the pieces and pass legislation. I think there is widespread understanding that what we have done for the last 6 months has failed from a policy point of view. It has failed politically. We need to change course. We need to have the courage to take on the Republicans and let Manchin and Sinema decide which side they are on.
Other than Build Back Better, progressive Democrats such as Pramila Jayapal also continued their push for the cancellation of student loan debt. During President Biden's campaign, he promised to cancel up to $10,000 worth of student loan debt, while progressive Democrats hope to cancel up to $50,000 per person. And while there's almost no chance to do this outside of another reconciliation bill, if senators like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema would get on board, progressives hope anyways Biden simply does it alone through an executive order. Here is Pramila Jayapal explaining the importance of canceling student loan debt and the impacts that it could have on the economy.
Well, this student debt cancellation is really important, both for the economic recovery and for people. And by the way, the fastest growing demographic of people with student loans, Jake, is seniors. So on fixed income. So this is something that affects the country at large, and it also has a deep impact on racial equity, which is something the president has said is so important to him, and racial wealth. And so I think we will get something done on that. I think it's not really that any one thing is going to stop people from coming out, but we do just have to recognize the crises that people face and recognize that the more that we can deliver, the more we have a story to tell that keeps people in the game and believing that their vote matters. Which it does, but we need to show them that they delivered us the House, the Senate, and the White House. And now look at all the things we've accomplished. We've got a good first year. We need to have a good second year, really a second 6 months. And we need to be able to show people that we are delivering for them so that they're waking up feeling better about their lives and opportunities.
Of course, while all this is going on, we also have much bigger distractions such as rising inflation, a border crisis, a plummeting stock market, and major issues over in Ukraine. And yesterday, the United States placed up to 8,500 more troops on alert for possible deployment to Eastern Europe amid all these recent tensions. Here is the U.S. Defense Department Press Secretary John Kirby stressing the importance of this situation.
As you're all aware, the United States is deeply concerned about the current situation in Europe. We remain keenly focused on Russia's unusual military activities near the Ukrainian border, including in Belarus, and consulting extensively with our transatlantic allies and partners. The department continues to support diplomatic efforts to de-escalate the situation. Now, as the president has said, even as we continue to prioritize diplomacy and dialogue, we must also increase readiness. In support of its obligations to the security and defense of NATO and the security of its citizens abroad, at the direction of the president and following recommendations made by Secretary Austin, the United States has taken steps to heighten the readiness of its forces at home and abroad so that they are prepared to respond to a range of contingencies, including support to the NATO response force if it is activated. As you have heard me describe many times, our commitment to the security of NATO allies and our Article 5 commitment are ironclad. As the president has also made clear, the United States will act firmly in defense of its national interests in response to actions by Russia that harm us, our allies, our partners. As part of that commitment, the Department of Defense maintains significant combat-capable forces forward in Europe to deter aggression and enhance the alliance's ability to defend allies and defeat aggression if necessary. The United States also has a commitment to provide forces to the NATO response force, or otherwise known as the NRF, in the event that NATO should activate that construct. Now, as you may know, the NRF is a multinational force made up of land, air, maritime, and special operations forces, all components that the alliance can deploy on short notice wherever needed. Altogether, the NRF comprises around 40,000 multinational troops. Within the NRF is something called the Very High Readiness Joint Task Force, or VJTF. This NRF element, which is about 20,000 strong across all domains, includes a multinational land brigade of around 5,000 troops and air, maritime, and special operation forces components. I want to provide some facts on these preparations that will reinforce our commitment to NATO and to the NATO response force and increase our readiness.
Back in February of 2020, President nominee Joe Biden tweeted, "Vladimir Putin doesn't want me to be president. He doesn't want me to be our nominee. If you're wondering why, it's because I'm the only person in this field who's ever gone toe-to-toe with him." Meanwhile, according to Sky News, China flew 39 warplanes towards Taiwan as tensions continue to rise over there as well. So it seems like Russia nor China are really taking President Biden's threats of retaliation if they invade all that entirely seriously. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Again, if you would like to receive 1 free stock from Robinhood or 2 free stocks from Webull, make sure to go ahead and claim them by clicking my links, which of course you will find in the description box below. So once again, I do hope that everyone has a great and safe rest of their day, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.